I remember the water, how it turned crimson in the morning sun. A shimmering sea of rubies, stretching from horizon to horizon. You could almost believe it went on forever. But beyond that red expanse lay a land in turmoil. On the shores of Othar, our Doman brothers struggled in vain.
Gentlemen, I'm told you were most unreceptive to my associate's requests. I realize you do not look kindly on the Confederacy and her ways, but if you refuse to pay the ruby tithe, your safety in these waters cannot be assured.
Spare me your concern, pilot. Your feeble attempts at extortion will not work on us. You remain at large because we allow it. Because you are such insignificant little pests that we see no need to swat you. But if you wish to risk the ire of the Viceroy, by all means, fire upon an Imperial vessel. Give us a reason to bring the full might of the Garlean Empire to bear against your pathetic fleet.
Bastards!
Gentlemen, surely the fact that you have such limitless resources at your disposal gives you all the more reason to spare some few coins for the less fortunate.
All talk, just as I thought. Come, let us away. I have no time for this rubbish.
We're all the same to them, aren't we? Savages to be ruled or slaughtered.
They've always balked at paying the ruby tithe, but they were never so eager to pick a fight. The problem, you see, is that many of my comrades in the Confederacy are of Doman descent, and the acting Viceroy, well, she's none too fond of Domans, to say the least. If we take any action to hinder the safe passage of an Imperial vessel, she'll accuse us of attempting to foment rebellion and brand us enemies of the Empire, which we can ill afford to be. Like the man said, we're all talk.
And where did the Kojin stand in all this?
With the winning side, of course. They're mercenaries to a fault, eager to offer their services without coercion. The Shellback could tell you more, though something tells me he would rather not.
I don't understand. If the Garleans are causing the Confederacy this much trouble, and if so many of you are Doman to begin with, why aren't you willing to fight back?
Spoken like a true friend of the Doman Liberation Front. If you're planning to rouse us with noble words and grand promises, don't bother. We all know what the Imperial Army can do. Compared to them, we're boys with boats. Besides, what ties a man may once have held to his home are forsaken upon joining the Confederacy. We look out for none but our own. Be that as it may, our livelihood is under threat. And the captain will need to decide soon whether we're to go down in a blaze of glory, or bow and scrape for crumbs from the Emperor's table. All while our friend the Viceroy continues her purge of Doma's radical elements. I believe she's holding court in one of the fishing villages even as we speak.
That she-devil! Her perfidy knows no bounds! She must be stopped! Come, let us find Soroban and put to sea at once!
Tell the others that these ones have paid. We all have places to be.
Even accounting for the rebellion, such indiscriminate shows of force seem pointlessly excessive.
If only you knew how commonplace such scenes have become. Are we too late?
Over there, someone's coming.
It is she, sworn enemy of Doma, of my master. The traitor who sold her homeland to the Garleans. Yotsuyu.
The Viceroy herself. And look behind her. Isn't that...
Filth and squalor everywhere I look. How very Doma. What I wouldn't do for a drink. Come now! You've no reason to look so afraid. You have lived through a quarter of a century of Garlean rule, remember? 'Tis better to bend with the wind than stand tall and be broken. Therein lies hope. Therein lies freedom. I come before you today seeking affirmation. A heartfelt declaration. You are free to answer me as you see fit, yet even the least among you should know the correct response. Should. A resident of your village, one of your neighbors, mayhap your friend, was detained by the Kojin this morning. They say he was attempting to flee to Kugane. But we both know that simply isn't true, don't we? Have you anything to say? Bit slow, this one. Is there anyone more sensible among you? Have any of you anything to say? To swear?
My lady, I swear to serve the Empire, to do whatever is asked of me, and never disobey.
Well said, that man. Of course, it wouldn't do to simply take you at your word. Kill him. Surely you can do that much. He must be guilty of something or other, or he wouldn't have attempted to flee the Empire.
have a family. Kami, forgive me. Kami, forgive me.
Very, very good. I've always had a soft spot for men like you. Next, I want you to shoot those two over there. Too old to work, you understand. A burden on the Empire. We can't have that.
But they're my parents. You can't expect me to...
Stop and think for a moment. If you go charging in now, every one of those villagers is as good as dead. We must consider the wider picture. If we act recklessly, we risk alerting the Garleans to our presence here, making it that much harder for us to work with the local rebels. To say nothing of the reprisals ordinary civilians would be made to suffer.
Open your eyes, girl. They are already suffering. Let me go. I am putting an end to this madness. I will approach the village alone and identify myself as a former leader of the rebellion and a known fugitive. They will wish to detain me until they are certain they have learned all I know. Use this time to make your plans.
You saw what those monsters did to the villagers. Who knows what they'll do to you, assuming they don't kill you where you stand?
We live and die at the pleasure of the Kami. My fate is in their hands and no others. If it be of any comfort, I am no stranger to chains.
You can't expect us to stand idly by as a comrade goes marching off to his death. And this is nothing like Kugane.
Nor is it like the Reach, Lise, or the Wall. Let him go. Hold out for as long as you can, but remember, noble sacrifices are to remain an absolute last resort. I wish I could say it won't come to that, but only the gods know how we're going to get you and the others out in one piece. A miracle, perchance.
A great tower stands to the north and east. Look to its occupants for aid and succor. Together, you may yet find your miracle. Now, leave this place. I must go.
Another idiot like all the rest. I'm beginning to think it may be something fundamental. Something intrinsic. Something quintessentially Doman to ignore the simple truth. You can't do a damn thing if you're dead.
Enough, Yotsuyu!
Well now, this is a surprise.
Hear me, Yotsuyu! Cease this farce, here and now, and I shall surrender myself to you. Refuse, and all shall answer to my blade.
Bring him to the tavern.
Our most compassionate acquaintances return. For your deeds we owe you many thanks. But something tells me our thanks are not sufficient. The strange thing is, I was certain you understood our position. And yet here you are with that same look in your eyes, and those same words upon your lips, I'll wager.
I speak only the truth. The Confederacy will not be spared Yotsuyu's wrath. You have always known this, that one day you would have no choice but to stand up to the Empire. I say to you that day is today, and come once more to ask that you join us in the fight.
How convenient that recent events should lend such credence to your claims. Tell me, do death and destruction always follow in your wake?
They had no part in it, Tansui. You know this. We all know this. They came and took our Doman brothers. They will torture them for her sport. Murder them for her satisfaction. So we attack and get butchered for our trouble, or do naught and let them have their pound of flesh. If this be our choice, I say we suffer the ignominy. We endure. We survive. There is no better path. Until the day our enemy is grown weaker and we stronger, there can be no retribution. We will wait for a sign. Such is the judgment of the Confederacy.
So that's it then. You're just going to abandon them to her. They'd die for you, you know, for the Confederacy. They would die for you, but you wouldn't even think to risk your lives for theirs.
I have one last idea, if you will allow. I'm afraid it's not very good as ideas go. It's exceedingly reckless, in fact, and you may well come to despise me for ever having suggested it. Assuming we survive, that is. The question being, do you trust me?
We can't stand by and let innocent people suffer, here or anywhere else. I'll do whatever it takes.
Then let us roll the dice. If it's a sign you want, we shall give you one. One rousing enough to make you drive every Garlean out of Isari without a second thought. You are wary of invoking the ire of the Imperial forces stationed in Doma, correct? Know then that once we have rescued our comrade, and freed Isari, we mean to liberate the nation as a whole. You will doubtless require assurances that we are capable of achieving this, and that is only fair. Accordingly, we shall demonstrate our seriousness by depriving the Garleans of a key ally, the Kojin.
What, the three of you, just like that?
Actually, my esteemed colleague here will attend to it on her own. But the how of it is not your concern, only the outcome. If we succeed, you help us liberate Isari. If we fail, you lose nothing. A simple enough wager, if you have the stones for it.
The little miss does make it hard to refuse, does she not?
Words are air. We will weigh you by your deeds.
Is that light I see up ahead? We appear to be standing inside a giant bubble. By the 12. I think we're on the seabed.
Well, well, I thought I heard familiar voices.
Soroban, what are you doing here?
What a curious question. I live here.
Then this is the home of the Blue Kojin.
Just so. I bid you welcome to Tamamizu.
Welcome, guests. Gratitude to you for aiding Soroban in his negotiations.
We thank you for your hospitality, honored elder. Pray forgive me my brevity, but I wish to discuss an urgent matter.
So, you seek to compel our Red Brothers to forego hostilities for a time.
That's right. We know your two clans have your differences, but what with you being brothers and all, we thought you might be able to share some secret knowledge or something?
From far above, you have journeyed here in search of our wisdom. You shall have it. All creation is a tapestry, through which the divine is interwoven. Kami are legion, and they can be found in the great and the small. Though they come and go as they please, they favor certain vessels. The ancient, the precious, the exquisite. We Kojin covet these vessels, these treasures. We go forth and bring them home to keep them safe and bask in their divinity. They bring prosperity and joy to us and our children. Yet, how are we to seek these treasures above if we made enemies of the Garlean Empire, powerful and far-reaching as they are? Wiser to join with them. So resolved the Red Kojin.
Cautiously and carefully, for the Garleans are blind to the divine, nor will they suffer their subjects to see. So the Red masquerade as mercenaries who seek money and power and never speak of their faith in the presence of their masters. To honor the divine, they deny it. A twisted and misguided path.
Aye. Kami will not abide such foolishness. This they shall learn to their sorrow.
While our red brothers live by the sword, we blue Kojin uphold the old ways, engaging in trade and valuing peace. Alas, men distinguish not between our clans, and judgment for the doings of the red falls unjustly upon the blue. Thus do men grow more and more reluctant to deal with us, denying us our treasures. This cannot continue.
On that point, we are in agreement. You are willing to aid our cause, then?
There is a way that the red may be driven to retreat into their shells. But to share with you this knowledge is to reveal secrets of the divine. Assurances must first be had, trust forged, a bargain struck.
Well said, Elder. In great crises is great profit to be had.
Delight not overmuch in such things, Soroban. Now, tell our guests what must be done.
As you wish.
Well, I've no idea what we've gotten ourselves into, but so far so good, right?